What's up, everybody, and welcome on back to the episode of the My Side of Things podcast. This is now episode 22. I'm your host, as always, Ash. I don't know why I did a thumbs up, and my thumb is oddly long. I never realized that, but it has a really weird way it stands as well. I'd be great at thumb wars, I can tell you that right now. but speaking of wars, we got to talk about a whole lot of things, including Will Ospreay versus WWE for the umpteenth time over the past few years. We also got to talk about Backlash, doing a big review on that. Mina versus Mina versus Azumi at New Japan Resurgence. And we also got to talk about Willow Nightingale being in her contract year. Just remember, though, as always, wherever you're listening to this podcast at, liking, following, rating, sharing, commenting, all that stuff definitely does help out the channel very much so. It helps the podcast out very much so. So if you could do that, make sure you do that. And if you got any folks that love wrestling, make sure you go ahead and share this on over to them. Okay. All right, though. I don't know why I did it like that. Really odd start to this. You know, for anybody that wonders if I'm ever under the influence of any kind whenever I record my podcast, I promise y'all, I don't do anything. I'm just a very giddy person is all, and not like Josh Giddy either. Just a very quirky, goofy individual. So yeah, and I tend to make myself laugh a lot of times. Another thing is when I'm kind of like doing it like this, where I'm like just looking into a camera, but obviously not looking at myself, it tends to make me a bit, I guess you would say, camera shy. So a thing I usually do is laugh, and I'll like randomly, well, I don't want to say it like that, but I'll be like messing with my hair and stuff, or like randomly just like touching my body and something like that. It's just a nerve thing. That's all it really is. That's all it really is. I don't do it when I record TikToks though. It's usually because I can like pause the camera and all that stuff. Let's go ahead and start off with Mr. William Ospreay of Osprayington, wherever the heck he's from, Europe, wait, England. He's royalty. Well, he is the greatest wrestler to date, but not many would agree with this right now, especially if you're a WWE fan. So Will Ospreay in the Daily Star, I'll go ahead and throw this up on the screen so y'all can read it as well. He had a whole lot to say about WWE, and I'm actually going to go step by step with this instead of, just reading the entire thing and then making all my comments on it. He says, I think it's a bit of both, to be honest with you. I think deep down we know WWE is a machine. It's an animal. They're in giant stadiums and they're doing so good, but a lot of people look at us and just say, we're doing it wrong because WWE are doing this. No, there's different ways of doing it, and I think he's 100% correct when saying this. And this is a comment that I feel like has to be just said so many times now by AEW fans, by fans of any other company, especially when WWE has gone to like quote unquote wars with these companies, whether it be TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan, etc. There are different ways for every company to do things. Like New Japan has a lot of quiet crowds. Someone would look at New Japan and be like, oh, well, the fans aren't into it because they're so quiet. No, that's just a New Japan thing. And then you look at AEW and you see smaller venues and you're like, oh, they're not successful. They're nowhere near as even big as like NXT. Well, AEW has now started finding its way of having smaller venues that have much more beautiful looks, so that like when you're watching it on TV, it's not just about the wrestling now it's about the look as well of the entire stadium. This past Dynamite and Collision, it looked absolutely beautiful in the venue they were in. I loved seeing the moment with Toni Storm where she's up on that little like balcony area. I forgot the exact wording for it, but I really loved that moment right there. It felt like Toni Storm's character was even more on display with this moment. Then we have Mercedes Moné and Jamie Hayter coming down from that area as well. And don't get me wrong, I think WWE stadiums look fine. They don't ever really look like the most interesting, though. I'm more just interested on what's happening in the ring or what's happening with the stories rather than I am on the way like the stadium looks. It just looks like a regular like sports arena, and it's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing by any means, but everybody has their own ways of doing it. I think WWE fans, they love seeing the large crowd there. For me, I'm just like, especially because I would never want to go to a WWE live event because I would be just in a horrible place because of anxiety and all kind of things like that. Now, Will Ospreay had a whole lot more to say because the next thing he says is, I got into WWE when I was a kid, but when I became a teenager, I just thought it was lame. There were certain guys I enjoyed. Eddie Guerrero was one, Edge was another, Randy Orton sick, but after a while, I was just like, this is pantomiming. I'm bored. It's the same stuff. It's recycled and it's over and over again. And every now and again, you'd get something cool like the CM Punk Punk pipe bomb promo, every now and again you get something like, whoa, that was sick, and WWE are on fire right now. But I still, as not only just a viewer, but as a wrestler, I don't enjoy it. I don't know why anyone's mad about this, because I feel like if Will Ospreay was just a random dude that grew up on the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression era, y'all would all love what he said, because he said exactly what those fans be saying all the time, and nobody goes at them for saying that. Nobody says like, oh, you know, like you're wrong, or oh, you can't say that, or they start taking away like they start like judging their character and stuff like that. Like nobody says that. So I don't really get why we're mad about Will Ospreay saying that. And for Will Ospreay, like he said, that it's not just as a fan, it's a wrestler. It's not his style that he's into. And I don't think it's an issue. I think AEW and WWE have very much so different styles of wrestling. So isn't this what literally every WWE fan says? Isn't this what literally every Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression era fans say, that WWE is not as good as it once was, that, you know, the characters aren't that great anymore, the top stars aren't that great anymore, they don't really feel like top stars, they just feel like to me. Yeah, I don't know why anybody's mad at Will Ospreay for saying this, because this is exactly what all y'all be saying anyways. Go be mad at them before you're mad at Will Ospreay. Like, I feel like a lot of folks are only mad about this point because it is Will Ospreay and he's in AEW. Another thing, too, you have to remember is that he says right here, I got into WWE when I was a kid, but when I became a teenager, I just thought it was lame. And then later in this, he says, as not only just a viewer, but as a wrestler, I just don't enjoy it. You have to remember that Will Ospreay became a wrestler as a teenager. I think he was like 12, 13, 14 when he started wrestling. I think he had his first wrestling match against Kenny Omega at like 15, 16. So he's always been into this style of wrestling. This has always been for him, not the style that WWE is doing. So it would make sense that he's not into a lot of the things. And let's be real. The big one right here is he says, and every now and again you get something cool like the CM Punk pipe bomb promo. Every now and again something like, whoa, that was sick, and WWE is on fire right now. A lot of y'all have said that, what is that? Like that like the PG era 08 to, I guess you could probably say now, but let's say to like Cody came back. So like 2020, 2021. Didn't most of y'all say the PG era was just whatever? Don't y'all call 2019 the worst year, 2018 the worst year, 2020 the worst year, 2021 the worst year? Like, y'all call all these years bad. So it's like, I don't really get why you're so mad at Will Ospreay saying it when every single one of y'all said it. Heck, y'all say that 2012 through 2016 was bad. And it's like, whoa, those are some really great years in my opinion. Shield, you had Daniel Bryan stuff, you had AJ Styles, you had a lot of amazing things there. So I don't really get it. But let's go ahead and keep on continuing, because Will Ospreay had a lot more to say. This guy loves to talk just like me, man. That's why I like Will Ospreay a lot too. He says, I haven't watched WrestleMania. What I've heard is it isn't the best Mania. Maybe like Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair was the only sick match on there, which the three of them are sick. Three of the best wrestlers, period. But for me, I just never was a WWE guy. I respect it, and I respect the guys doing it. That schedule is like crazy, and I commend them all for doing it. I just didn't like it. I don't like the show. I don't like the style of wrestling. I don't like the presentation. It's gotten better. I love the one shot that they've been doing, but I just have never been a fan of it. So that's why when AEW came along and they went with more like a sports-based style of it, it was something that I could sink my teeth into. First of all, shout out to Will Ospreay for bigging up the women, because my goodness, wrestling fans just don't like to big up women. So shout out to Will Ospreay here for this for sure. But once again, y'all all said the exact same thing, that it wasn't a good WrestleMania. So why are you mad at Will Ospreay for uttering the exact same sentiments that so many of y'all have uttered? Y'all said that Rhea Bianca Io was probably the best match of the entire WrestleMania. He said the exact same thing. He said that they're all absolutely sick, which if that's the case, they need to get some Claritin Clear or some Mucinex or something. But like, I mean, I just don't have a problem really with a lot of what he said so far. Still, I don't think he said anything crazy. He's just continuing to utter the sentiment of that he just doesn't really care for WWE style of wrestling. It's not for him, and it does let us know probably also why he didn't go to WWE, that it wasn't just the whole schedule thing, that it was also the style thing, because he was definitely going to be limited. If you look at AJ Styles upon entering WWE, much different than he was in New Japan. If you look at a guy like Shinsuke Nakamura, Finn Balor, Io Sky, Asuka, Kairi Sane, and a whole bunch of others, they all look more limited in WWE than they do in other places. And for Will Ospreay, maybe that was just a thing that he did not want to have happen. He wanted to show off that he is the best wrestler, that he is a generational type wrestler. When you talk about some of the greatest wrestlers that have ever graced the match, it's AJ Styles, it's Kenny Omega, it's Will Ospreay, it's Tanahashi, it's Kurt Angle, it's you could even throw Shinsuke Nakamura in there as well. It's starting to become Konosuke Takeshita. Like, there are very few wrestlers who have touched the mats and have actually been as generational as some of these guys are. And I think Will Ospreay wants to go down as one of those wrestlers. I think going into WWE, he probably would get lost within WWE, or at least he would not get lost in a sense, but it's like, over time, we probably wouldn't talk about him as much as we do, like, going forward once he ever does finish wrestling and all that stuff. We're going to talk about him in like 10, 20 years as being one of the greatest wrestlers ever. I think within WWE, we'll just talk about him as being one of the greatest WWE wrestlers ever, but not like just one of the greatest wrestlers. Like AJ Styles, we're not going to really talk about his WWE career in like 20, 30 years. We're just not going to do it. We're going to talk about TNA, AJ Styles. We're going to talk about New Japan, AJ Styles. Same thing with Finn Balor. Same thing with Shinsuke Nakamura. And a lot of these others who have gone to WWE after leaving Japan. So I think that's just what it is for Will Ospreay. Now, he had a little more to say. This is the part that I think a lot of WWE fans don't like. And here's where I can say that before I even get into it, I do 100% understand why you don't like it. But I also understand that this is just a confidence thing and not so much of a hatred thing in a sense. But it is a bit of hate, I will say that. So he says, of course, I respect WWE and I admire everyone there. And a lot of people think I hate Triple H. I really don't. I've never met the guy in my life. But for me, there's always this little bit of rivalry where I'll just be like, yeah, you guys are the biggest. Yeah, you guys are drawing the bigger houses. Yeah, you guys got the bigger deals. But the moment the bell rings, I think we're better than all of them. I think, honestly, on my worst day, I'm better than a lot of their guys in ring promos. In ring and then promos. It's really odd right here, like the wording of this whole sentence right here. But, well, it's actually multiple sentences that are broken up. But promos, you guys got a bunch of guys. Punk's sick. Roman Reigns is sick. There's still things I need to catch up on. But in ring, I generally don't think there's anyone from that side that matches any of our guys. Okay, let me say this. If you go just 1-to-1, I do think AEW probably would take it. If you just threw out two random wrestlers like Bianca Belair and Sky Blue, Bianca Belair clears Sky Blue. That's not even an argument. Like, come on, man. Bianca Belair is one of the greatest wrestlers in the world right now. Io Sky probably does clear Toni Storm in ring. That's not even a probably. Io Sky clears Toni Storm in ring. So it's like, when you compare, just like 1-to-1, if we start going like, Will Ospreay versus Seth, we go Swerve Strickland versus Roman, etc., now you get more for AEW, but you still have a couple guys on WWE side that definitely can go bar for bar with AEW. But if you just throw out random names, it's not going to work at all. So I understand why people are upset by that point, and he's definitely... He definitely being a little cocky there, I ain't gonna lie to you. But he was also trying, ruffle some feathers as well. And I'm not even mad at it, man, because Seth Rollins said the exact same thing a few years ago where he said that I wouldn't trade any of our guys. He said I wouldn't trade any guy from AEW. Well, he said that company to our company, when it's like, really, Seth Rollins? You wouldn't want Swerve Strickland over in WWE? You wouldn't want Toni Storm in WWE. You wouldn't want Jon Moxley back in WWE. Like, come on, man. And mind you, I think WWE fans should be more mad at Seth Rollins than not Will Ospreay, because it's like, you just basically said you don't want Jon Moxley back, even though Jon Moxley's your guy, and there's been a bunch of conflicting reports about Jon Moxley and Seth Rollins' relationship ever since Jon Moxley did go to AEW. So it's like, I don't understand why so many people are mad at, like, Will Ospreay for it. I mean, well, I know why people are mad at Will Ospreay for this, but I'm also glad that Will Ospreay did do a very big thing here, which was clearing the air on the Triple H stuff. Because, see, my job is never going to be in trouble no matter what I say. I can come on here and say the craziest things about Triple H. Folks are going to hate me for it, but other than that, I'm not going to, like, lose any kind of potential, deals with WWE, because I was never looking for a WWE deal to begin with. I'm not going to burn that bridge, because that bridge was never being built. Will Ospreay, while he is in AEW right now, there is a bridge that is between him and WWE that he could one day cross. For a while, though, that bridge was burning. He did put out the fires, though, with this bridge, and I think he basically let WWE know that if you guys, if anything ever happened with AEW, or if there ever needed to be like any kind of like, partnerships or anything like that, there's not really going to be any issues between me and Triple H. Now, him and Seth Rollins, I have no clue about them dang issues. He ain't cleared that up at all. Him and Seth Rollins might have a stiff match if these guys ever wrestled, man. Oh, my gosh. We're going to go into this match thinking like it's going to be like a 5-star classic, and here just goes some hard. They gonna get some hard punches in. That one kick that Shawn Michaels gave to The Rock, we're gonna see Seth Rollins definitely do that. Little Tiger Driver might be a little extra hard. Oh my god. Yeah, no, he can't do the Tiger Driver. Nope. Tiger Driver and Curb Stomp need to be banned in this match. They're not allowed to do it because I don't want to see anything happen that could possibly happen. So yeah, no. Now the pedigree, go ahead and do that. The cutter, go ahead and do that. Also, Will Ospreay and Cody Rhodes definitely need to have a cutter battle because Cody Rhodes definitely does owe Will Ospreay for sure because, yeah, he took that cutter from him. Most definitely. It was not from Randy. That was Will's. But nah, I just think that, like, there's some cockiness in here for sure. And if you're mad at Will Ospreay, I want you to remember something right now. Will Ospreay is an Englishman. This is how probably 90% of Englishmen are. This is exactly how I expect them to be. I know very few people from Europe, but I felt like if I met a few folk from Europe, like, this is exactly how I would expect them to be because this is how I see them on TikTok all the time. Every single time, they sound so cocky. I just got a British dude on TikTok talking about man, forget the 100 men versus Gorilla. How about 100 British folk versus 100 American folk? Like, oh my God. And they start saying that he'll wipe the floor. Like, come on, man. This is, I don't want to say it's all of them because, like, it feels like so stereotyping, but, like, this is what a lot of people portray that British people are, and he's just playing into it. I think Will Ospreay is in character a lot more often than he's really not because this is Will Ospreay's character. If you ever wondered what it was, it is the cocky European dude. I had to move my camera over a little bit. It is the cocky European dude. That's what Will Ospreay's character is going to be, probably until he becomes a heel. Maybe he changes it up as a face at some point in time later on down the line, but for the most part, I think it's just him going to be like this, and that's perfectly fine in my opinion. So yeah, I feel like this whole entire thing with Will Ospreay and WWE was just a lot of folks reaching. I think that, if you're like discrediting the dude's character, if you're discrediting him in the ring by saying he doesn't have great ring psychology, first of all, could you even actually explain what the hell ring psychology is? If you can't, then just please shut up. In-ring storytelling, again, if you can't explain that, then please just shut up. And if you don't know Will Ospreay personally, like you never met the man in person, then once again, please shut up. Like when I say that, like, he's portraying the stereotype of British folk, I don't know a lot, European folk. I don't know a lot of European folks, so I don't know exactly how they act, but he's playing the character exactly the same way that Street Profits are playing stereotypical black dudes. They're playing the character the exact same way that Thunder Rosa plays a stereotypical Hispanic woman. She is playing the character the same way that Io Sky and Julia and all of them play a stereotypical Japanese woman. This is what wrestling has done for many, many years now, is that a lot of people will play into the stereotypes of their race because it's the easiest way to show off their character. Look at Becky Lynch, look at Drew McIntyre, look at Roman Reigns, look at Jey Uso, look at Jacob Fatu, look at all of these guys. They're playing into their character. So I think take Will Ospreay with a grain of salt because AEW, unlike WWE for the most part, they still kind of do it sometimes, but for the most part, AEW keeps kayfabe even outside of AEW. This is a very old tactic that WWE used a lot of times until it got them in a bit of trouble as well, so that's why I stopped doing it, which I understand. But AEW has a lot of their wrestlers stay in character. Look at Tony Storm in interviews with Muscle Man. I think Muscle Man Marcus is his name. Look at Ricochet online. Look at Will Ospreay in interviews. Like they're still in character for the most part. Now go look at a lot of WWE wrestlers when they're in interviews, when they're doing post show press conferences and all that. A lot of times they're not always in character. And that's because WWE has kind of started going into that more Hollywood kind of thing where it's like, you can talk about your character openly. You can talk about stories openly, and it shouldn't ruin the product because it's actually just furthering the product. That way you can, cater to the fans that aren't the avid watchers. They're not watching every single Monday, every single Friday. Maybe they're not the most knowledgeable of wrestling fans, so they don't understand the characters that well. Well, now they're able to explain the characters the exact same way a movie and a TV show would explain them. Think of it like if you're a big anime fan, think of it like the Naruto wiki, the One Piece wiki, the Bleach wiki. It breaks down the entire character, it breaks down all these, big moments for the character, little moments for the character. That's what WWE is basically doing right now with a lot of their interviews and all that stuff. It's like a Wikipedia for the wrestler, for the characters, etc. AEW, on the other hand, they still are trying to keep kayfabe as much alive as possible by having their wrestlers be the exact same way they would in AEW, outside of it as well, so on social media, interviews, etc. So yeah, no, all in all, I don't really have too much of an issue with what Will Ospreay said. I understand the cocky part could definitely get to people, and if you personally don't like cocky people, I mean, that's fine, but just, probably say you're not a fan of Roman Reigns then, and CM Punk, and a whole bunch of others, like Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, because that's also their characters as well. Bianca goes around calling her the quickest, the fastest, the roughest, the toughest, the strongest, the whatever else there is. So yeah, I would just say that. But let's go ahead and talk about Backlash. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, my iPad almost fell. Oh man, I really got to get a way to hold my iPad up. But let's go ahead and talk about Backlash, shall we? Because there's a lot of mixed reviews on this Backlash. We're going to go ahead and start off with the fatal four-way of Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre versus LA Knight versus Damian Priest. Now, overall, I thought this was just a pretty decent match. I didn't think it was like too spectacular by any means. There was a few moments where it did definitely get big. I will say this. I feel like Drew and Damian felt so misplaced in this entire thing, in that it felt like there were only tiny moments where they really went at each other, which was the start, that one part in the middle, and then like towards, I guess, the end. But it was like, I felt like we needed a lot more from Drew and Damian not being so focused on the U.S. title and more so just being focused on each other, rather than seeing Drew and Damian try to go for multiple pins on Jacob Fatu. Obviously, yes, Drew has made it clear that he wants to go after the biggest, baddest guy in WWE, and he believes that that's Jacob Fatu. But Damian hasn't really, made it clear that he wants to go after the U.S. title. He just made it clear that he wants to go after Drew McIntyre, so I feel like he should have been a lot more focused on McIntyre, and McIntyre should have also probably been a lot more focused on him, because that's been Drew's character, is that when he gets so close because of his distractions, he gets distracted and he starts going after the ones that he probably shouldn't be going after instead of focusing on the gold, and I feel like that should have been showcased a lot more. So I feel like they were a bit misplaced in this match in general. As far as LA Knight, oh my gosh, man. We did it for like the umpteenth time with LA Knight, where somebody interferes, costing LA Knight. Now, mind you, I get it this time because obviously, no, I don't get it. Well, I get it this time because of the Jeff Cobb debut. I'm so just back and forth with this because I do understand the Jeff Cobb debut and all that stuff. It made a lot of sense. But it feels like I don't even know how many matches now, it's always been somebody interferes, costing LA Knight. Somebody interferes, costing LA Knight. Somebody interferes, costing LA Knight. And it's just like, why does this have to keep being the case with him? I understand that we're trying to protect him, but protect him for what? When are we pushing LA Knight to the world title scene? We're not doing it this year. There's no way that he's taking the world title off of Jey Uso or John Cena, and especially if Seth Rollins get that belt, LA Knight's definitely not taking it off of Seth Rollins. So it's like, I don't understand the overprotecting of LA Knight right now, especially in this way where it's a repetitive overprotecting. I feel like there's ways that we could have done this that could be better, like maybe wrestlers cheating against him instead of always just, interfering in his matches. That would be better in my opinion. I've said this for a while now about WWE as well, that the interferences are just becoming way too much. There was literally 3 different interferences. No, wait, actually 1, 2, yeah, 3. No, well, technically 4. There was 4 interferences in a 5-match card that really just kind of messed up a lot of the matches in my opinion. Well, no, actually it's 3. Yeah. Well, Cena Orton technically had an interference as well. But it's 4. But it's just like the interferences just become so much, and especially for LA Knight, it's just it's honestly hurting him a lot more than it is helping him, because we know he's not gonna get any big titles this year, and with both of his U.S. title runs, you didn't do much with. So it's like, we know that if you give him the world title, it's probably not gonna be that great of a run either. So it's like the overprotection of him, just because he is a superstar, is hurting him a lot more than it's helping him. It kind of is, different to Roman Reigns in a sense, because Roman Reigns, when he was protected during his WWE Undisputed Championship run, you protected him because of the fact that he needed to be protected. He kind of almost made that aware by struggling in matches at times where he would look like he's almost losing. LA Knight would be winning and someone would interfere every single dang time, and it just hurts him a lot more than it helps him. It helped Roman a lot more than it hurt Roman, even though there are people that go out there and say, oh, well, he shouldn't have, oh, well, this shouldn't have happened, that shouldn't have happened. He's a heel. It's supposed to happen. Duh. And then as far as the Jeff Cobb debut, it felt odd. It felt like, it just felt like whatever. I don't even know if they called him by his name. I think they didn't call him by his name because they're probably still searching for a name for him. But it just felt like a bit rushed, in my opinion, I guess. I don't like how he looked standing next to Solo. It didn't really feel that great. I'm going to be real with you, man. It really, really didn't. But I will say this. It does help the Jacob Fatu feud that's going to happen with Solo Sikoa in the future, because now, you created this tension between Solo and Jacob. Well, you already kind of had it, but you created it even further. I just think that it's like a Band-Aid on a wound, though. It helps, but it's still painful nonetheless. Like, if you cut yourself and you put a Band-Aid over it, you're still going to feel the cut every time you touch it. And I feel like with Solo Sikoa, he has a Band-Aid on him right now. He is the wound. And it's just like, there's nothing there. Solo is not hyped anymore. Nobody really wants to see Solo Sikoa. I love seeing Solo Sikoa. I think he's absolutely funny. I think he's amazing on the mic, and he really is a pretty dang good character worker as well. It's just that we built Solo up to be basically like Pete Dunne. It's just he was in the bloodline. That's the only reason why Solo looks a lot better than Pete Dunne. Had Pete Dunne been in the bloodline, he looked just like Solo right now, where Solo Sikoa was losing every single dang match. He lost, he lost every singles match that he had, and the only time that he ever really got wins was when things went wrong in a match, like, Roman and all them kind of imploding, and then you had, Roman and them imploding, and then Sami Zayn coming out and, causing issues and stuff like that. Then you had this stuff with, what was it? The Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga interferences. No, the Jacob Fatu and Tonga Loa debuts that helped them get other wins. So it's like, you didn't really build up Solo Sikoa that well at all. You didn't build him up as any kind of like, master strategist or like an architect like Seth Rollins or just any kind of thing. You just basically made him Roman Reigns 2.0, and it didn't really help because nobody really got behind Solo. Roman had the look to him of like a final boss. Solo Sikoa looked like less than an underboss, in my opinion. He looked more like a grunt, and had you built him up better when he was with the bloodline, like the original bloodline, it would have been a bit better. You didn't need to make him like this, superstar by any means, but you could have made the guy have a few more wins than losses. He didn't need 33 dang losses and one win. And then the whole like losing has consequences thing. He literally lost multiple times and there was no consequences at all. I feel like he should have got kicked out of the bloodline at some point in time, especially after War Games. He should have been. I don't really get that. After the tribal combat match, should have been kicked out to that. Or he should have won the tribal combat match. There's also that as well. So, yeah, no, I don't think it really helps the Solo Jacob feud that much, because Solo losing to Roman didn't help Roman. I don't think it's going to help Jacob either, other than just getting him away from the bloodline. So, overall, I feel like this match was just decent. I feel like this Jacob, Drew, Knight, Damian match was just about a 3.5 or a 3 out of 5. It wasn't like anything special by any means. Then next up, we had easily the best match of the night that I would give a 4.5 out of 5 to. It was Lyra Valkyria. This match was absolutely awesome. If you love some technical wrestling, which is funny because I don't really actually love it that much, but it's kind of, I'm not going to lie to you, some of the women are getting me really into technical wrestling, so shout out to the women. But this match just felt absolutely amazing, man, from start to finish. I don't think we needed the Hogan moments from Lyra Valkyria, where she kicked out of 3 different manhandle slams. We definitely did not need that in the slightest. I don't even know why that was, on the table, and then why it got off the table and brought into the ring. I do not know how the hell that happened, but we had her kick out of multiple of those, but the submission that she was putting on was just like, she was a submission specialist in this match. She was looking like Shayna Baszler, Natty Neidhart. It was just absolutely beautiful. We got to see Becky Lynch bring the disarmer back, going into it multiple different times, and then Lyra using the disarmer as well. And then we just, oh my gosh, it was just so beautiful, man. Lyra was going just so crazy in this match. My only worry My only worry, and I just made a TikTok on this earlier, is what does this do for Lyra? Because I feel like with Lyra winning, it still did not make her into a star. It did not at all. She got the win with a roll-up instead of a submission. I would have loved to see maybe like Becky Lynch just kind of pass out. But obviously, you had the post-match attack. I would have loved to see Nightwing maybe hit on her instead. We know that Becky is likely going to be getting the win soon. I just don't know what this did for Lyra, though. I feel like this did the exact same thing what Becky did before for Lyra, which was a quick moment of like a little like 5 seconds of fame. And then I feel like it did for... I just feel like it did for Lyra what it did before, which is a cool little 15 seconds of fame where, you know, her last feud with Becky Lynch back in NXT was really hot. And then that feud, between that feud and the Roxanne feud, Lyra kind of just cooled down. And then the Roxanne feud got her hot again. But then between the Roxanne feud and the current Becky Lynch feud, Lyra cooled the hell down to the point where she was frozen solid, like as if she was in Antarctica. So it's like, I hope that this does actually do something for Lyra, but I don't know if it is because I feel like the pop just wasn't that loud when she got the win. I feel like the online community just isn't talking about Lyra Valkyria and this big win, and it's just like I got everybody telling me that Becky should have won. Literally everybody said that Becky looked better in the match, and I'm like, no, Lyra Valkyria was literally the MVP of Backlash. I feel like she carried this thing on her back with this match, in my opinion. But I will say Lyra and Becky also definitely had by far the best match of the night. This match cleared every other match. This just though, obviously it's leading to Becky Lynch versus Lyra Part 2, possibly a Saturday night's main event, possibly just on like a random Monday Night Raw. Maybe even within like 2 weeks I could see that happening. I feel like this match is supposed to do a lot more, and I feel like a Nightwing finish would have done a lot more than the roll-up. It feels very first time her and Becky faced. This is also just like a big issue with WWE right now, though, in general, where it's like, for the longest time, every single time a NXT call-up would happen, they would go up to the main roster and they would restart their entire story unless they were extremely marketable. People like right now we have Carmelo Hayes and Lyra Valkyria who had to restart their entire stories because of the fact that they're not marketable compared to Braun Breaker and Tiffany Stratton. But the issue is this shouldn't be the case because Triple H was the victim of so many NXT call-ups getting screwed over coming to the main roster. That's why he wanted Aleister Black back. That's why I bet he wants Buddy Matthews back. That's why he probably wants Swerve Strickland and Tony Storm back. Because like it was Vince McMahon that ruined a lot of them by not really, doing much to get the main roster fans into NXT. Well, Triple H has kind of done the same thing over the past few years where a lot of these NXT stars who are stars in NXT, they should be getting onto the main roster earlier, not to be mainstays, but to at least have matches, to at least show their presence. And the only time that Roxanne really did and that Obafemi really did, at least for Roxanne, was when she was close to getting called up, and it was around like the early parts of the Bayley feud. And then there was like one moment with Oba where he was in the crowd. But for the most part, we haven't seen any of them ever even have matches, have promos, have backstage promos, anything like that. And I feel like that should have been a thing that Triple H addressed as soon as he took over, was having more NXT stars be shown off on the main roster early on, but still having them be primarily in NXT. Show them off every once in a while. It's NXT Tuesdays, Monday Night Raw, and Friday Night SmackDown. You're telling me that someone can't go to SmackDown? You tell me that not any one of them could go on over to SmackDown. I don't really get why he doesn't do that. I feel like it's just hurting. It's going to continue to hurt NXT, and it's not hurting NXT in the sense. It's hurting the NXT call-ups where it's like now you have all these ready to be made. Now you have all these ready to be made stars that you're not going to use on the roster, and then a lot of them are going to just slip and fall further and further down the card and become more and more of an afterthought to the point that it's just like they either leave or they just become jobbers. Like Carmelo Hayes, that should not be the case with him. He should have been a U.S. champion right now. He should be doing a lot more over this past year, but because he had to restart his story because he's not that marketable, it just really hurt a lot of his momentum. Same thing with Lyra Valkyria as well. She should have already been a ready-made star, but because of the fact that you really couldn't because she wasn't marketable, it hurt her so much. And for about 8 to 9 months, she was basically an afterthought that nobody wanted to see on TV. Now, as far as Dom and Penta, though, yes, we are on the Backlash review. I know I go a little off topic. It's the ADHD, the autism, and all that stuff. I like to ramble a bit. Me and Will Ospreay are very, very similar, and that's in that regard. But Dom versus Penta was pretty decent as well. I feel like we should have seen a more lucha libre style, old style versus new style between Dom and Penta, seeing as Dom is a bit on the younger side. He has a lot more of the newer style of lucha libre. Obviously, Penta's like in his 40s. He has a lot more of the older style. Would love to see old versus new kind of clash here, because you were going to put Dominic Mysterio over. You weren't going to put Penta over by any means. And I think this would have been a great way to make Dominic Mysterio even much more of a bigger star. But all in all, though, this match did definitely have some really good spots. I love that one suicide dive going into the DDT. I don't think y'all understand exactly how impressive that is by Dominic Mysterio to do. The fact that this man was moving forward and then slowed his momentum down enough mid-air to be able to turn his body and hit a DDT, a protected as hell DDT, because it did not hurt Penta. Well, I mean, he didn't botch it. Let's just say that. It might have hurt Penta a little bit, but like, he didn't botch it. I don't think y'all understand exactly how impressive that is. Like, anybody that says Dominic Mysterio can't wrestle, just go look at that right there. That shows you everything that you need to know about Dominic Mysterio and his ability to wrestle. But you might be thinking, like, okay, why is this match that bad? Is it just because, like, the style wasn't that great? They didn't really show off a lot? No, it's because the interferences, once again, 30,000 interferences. We had Carlito come in, then we had JD McDonough come in, then we had Finn Balor come in, and Finn Balor didn't even execute the chair shot right. And obviously, we're setting up to Finn and Dominic Mysterio and yada, yada, yada. I don't really care for it. I'm going to be honest with you. But then we had El Grande Americano come in, and it's just like we're continuing this storyline. I'm gonna be real with you, man. This storyline can go. It can go, baby. Don't nobody care about this El Grande Americano versus all the luchador style or a story anymore. Because what does it lead to? Does it lead to Penta going over El Grande? Really? I think Penta's already over. We don't need Penta to be over. You're not gonna do Dragon Lee. I can tell you that right now. You're not gonna be pushing Dragon Lee to go over him. And Rey Mysterio's a legend. What does he need to go over anymore? He's in the Randy Orton, John Cena, CM Punk style, a category where it's like he is already over and will forever be over. Like, I don't know what we're doing. Is this all for El Hijo de Vikingo? Is this all for him to come to WWE and take out El Grande Americano and go over? Is that the case? I mean, okay, you know what? I'll give you that one if that is the case then. But I just feel like that's not. It's going to be Penta. It's going to be a big feud for Penta. Well, not even a big feud. It's going to be a feud for Penta. And it's just like, at this point, man, just move Penta on over to SmackDown or move Rey on over to Raw and get the Lucha Bros already, man, because we just doing whatever with Penta at this point, man. We got this man having a Backlash match against the same guy that he just faced in the main event of Monday Night Raw the exact same week. Or wait, no, was that like the week before? That might be like the week before. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember exactly when it was. But like, come on, man. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, man? This is just, no. This El Grande stuff, I'm sorry. It's just gotten old quickly. There's just not much depth to it. If we heard a little more from El Grande, like on the mic, maybe it'd be cool. Obviously, we know who it is, but you could put somebody else under the mask as well to really kind of throw us off a bit. Especially with the talking, that would definitely throw us off. Be like, wait, hold on, that doesn't even sound like him at all. But then the next week, you have it be sound like him, and it's like, wait, hold on, who the hell actually is El Grande? But obviously, I guess you don't want to do the mic stuff because it's like, it kind of gives it up a little too much, but you can do something, man. You can do something, because this is just a whole lot of malarkey at this point. I ain't said that word in years. Oh my gosh, but oh man. Speaking of just a whole lot of bullshittery, Gunther versus Pat McAfee was the worst match that I have ever seen. It is worse than William Regal versus Goldberg. It is worse than AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Let me tell you why. Gunther was built up as an absolute animal coming into NXT, just destroyed the entire IC division, ran through every single one of them. This man was also kind of being built up as an animal while he was a World Heavyweight Champion by taking down the likes of Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Jey Uso about 30,000 times. This guy was also built up as an animal by literally trying to unalive Jimmy Uso and drinking the man's blood. And then we had this man play with his food against Pat McAfee. Almost lose to Pat McAfee on multiple different occasions. have multiple different Michael Cole interferences just for Gunther to get the win and to shake his hand afterwards. What the hell was that? That did zero for Gunther. If Pat McAfee's whole thing, which, you know, it was said by Byron Saxton, was just to go out there and show that he wasn't afraid of Gunther, literally just Pat McAfee being in the ring with Gunther would have done just that. Him, you know, kicking out of multiple finishers, not finishers, well, he kicked out of a clothesline, kicked out of one of the power bombs. He was in a chokehold for hella long, longer than Gunther was in a chokehold against Jey Uso, longer than Gunther was in a chokehold against Ilya Dragunov. Like, this guy immediately tapped out to both of these guys, but Pat McAfee doesn't immediately tap out to Gunther. Come on, man. What are we doing? We just make Gunther look so weak. Like, I just don't get the direction that we're going with Gunther. I feel like this did zero for the man at all. I don't even know where Gunther goes from here. If the plan is to make Gunther a babyface, then I guess great. That's the plan. But it's like, I don't like this for Gunther by any means, because I just think that Gunther could be like a really dominant force within WWE, be one of those dominant big guys that they don't really have a lot of, but that's also very super technical. You don't get a lot of guys Gunther's size to be technical wrestlers. They're usually just powerhouses. And in WWE, especially as of recently, they kind of just turn him into a chop merchant. That's all he's really been, is just chop, 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 big drop kick, and then a little power slam, and then I'm going to hug you to sleep. And that's really all Gunther's become. And it's like, it's definitely highlighting WWE's entertainment side over their wrestling side. And I understand that you want to do that because you know it's entertainment over wrestling. But I feel like there's a much better way to do this and not do it for every single wrestler. I feel like Gunther should never be put in this prediction. He should be very similar to a Chad Gable. He should be very similar to a Pete Dunne, where they still get to show off a lot of their bags. Heck, even Natty gets to show off a lot of her bag. Becky gets to show off some of hers. Seth gets to show off some of his. I feel like he should be in that same realm where he's being protected constantly and allowed to do a lot of what he can do, working the body, multiple different submissions and stuff like that. He really should be allowed to do that. And the respect thing afterwards, it just feels dumb in my opinion. You were playing with your food the entire time. Why are you respecting him afterwards? That doesn't make any sense at all. So the people that are saying he's playing with his food, he can't be playing with his food. It just doesn't make any sense. No, this match is as simple as, we made Gunther look like he was struggling against Pat McAfee. That's all it is, and that's all it will be. And McAfee no-selling like most of Gunther's moves was just also really stupid as well. This is why I did not want this match by any means. I thought it was going to be a squash match. I thought Goldberg was going to show up. Now I kind of wish that Goldberg did show up, because my goodness, this was just, No, this is a 1 out of 5 for me. I'm going to be real. This is actually a 0.5 out of 5 for me. This was awful. This was awful. If you loved it though, because you're entertained by it, you're allowed to, because you're a WWE fan. That's your number one. For me, I'm just a fan of wrestling. So for me, it just wasn't entertaining. We're all gonna have our differences though. Next up though, we had Cena versus Orton, and this was just a decent match. It's a decent match in my opinion. The amount of ref bumps we had in this match was just whatever. We had, some cool little moments here and there, like the AA into an RKO by Orton. I feel like we didn't call back to anything between these two guys, though. I would have loved to have seen more of that. I would have loved to have seen maybe, I don't know, someone from Randy's family in the crowd. It would have been cool to see maybe Randy's like wife in the crowd, and then have John Cena going at her. Obviously, don't AA her, please, Cena. Don't do that. But going at her, doing just something to be a little hey, remember when Randy went at Cena's dad? Yeah, well now Cena's going at Randy's wife. That would have been pretty cool. I don't know, man. Maybe you try to call back to the punt kick and all that stuff, and it's just you're still not doing the punt kick, and oh man, yeah, no, the ref bumps, and then that whole sequence where Randy Orton just RKO'd all the security, including Nick Aldis, it's whatever, it's cool. I think it's become like a running, just stick at this point where it's Randy Orton is gonna RKO literally everybody, and it's just it was just a decent match. I think a 2.5 out of 5, 2 out of 5. I didn't think it was horrible. I mean, you could even say it was a 3 out of 5, but I probably would lean more towards a 2.5 out of 5, but 2.5, 3, basically the same number, especially if you round it up. Then I thought the ending was really odd, because you had Cena calling out for competition. Now, everyone said this was a setup, John Cena versus CM Punk. The problem is, CM Punk literally already did that. He literally already did that before by calling out John Cena. I know y'all like that. By calling out John Cena. So it's why did we need to do this again so that CM Punk could just put "for now" on his Instagram story. I felt like it didn't really do much. I think we all knew that it was coming. I think if you thought that we weren't getting John Cena versus CM Punk at Money in the Bank, I'm gonna be real with you. Unless John Cena is truly ruining wrestling, so we get that match at like Saturday night's main event instead, I'm gonna be real. It's happening, okay? We all knew it was going to be happening at Money in the Bank. I think anybody could have guessed this. With John Cena's retirement tour literally announced, we all said John Cena versus CM Punk at Money in the Bank for one of the championships. So, yeah, I do like the little ending moment, though, like after that when it went off screen. I guess for some people it went to an ad. For me, it just stayed there. The crowd was saying, "Thank you, Cena." John Cena was getting a bit emotional. I don't know if it's because of a face turn. It's very possible that he was regretting some of his actions. I think also another part that really played into it was this was John Cena and Randy Orton's final match. And this is his biggest rival. It's probably the guy's going to induct him into the Hall of Fame. They're probably like super duper besties and all that stuff. They're probably going, brunch dates and all that. Like, this was his last match against Randy Orton in Randy Orton's hometown. Or I guess, hometown. It's like, this was definitely going to be emotional for him, regardless of, whether it is like whether he was a face or a heel. He was definitely going to try to hide the emotion as well as possible, but he obviously was not able to hide them. He kind of tried to, but it didn't work. Cena, this is the one time that we definitely all saw you. But overall, though, Backlash was just pretty cool. I didn't think it was like, elite by any means. I thought it was just a decent pay-per-view. It looks like Saturday night's main event also did get moved back a day. It was supposed to be on the 25th, but I think they kind of realized that's Sunday. That wasn't the WWE website, by the way. That was not me trying to just create something between WWE and AEW. It was literally on the website that it was supposed to be the 25th. Maybe they just said the wrong thing. I don't know. I thought the 25th was a Saturday. I'm not even going to lie to you, but it's actually on the 24th, which is a Saturday, and then Sunday is the 25th. So I think maybe they still are setting up to like a really big Saturday night's main event, but I don't think it's going to be as big now because we're probably going to be getting John Cena versus R-Truth. We're going to be getting Logan Paul versus Jey Uso. Those two matches right there are just kind of whatever. I'm going to be real with you. So, yeah, no. Saturday night's main event, though, might have some pretty interesting matches there. We might get like a women's championship match, something like that. But for the most part, I think Backlash was just... It was cool. It was here. Two pretty just boring PLEs in a row. I hope that Saturday night's main event is a bit better. I hope that Money in the Bank is really awesome, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It's definitely been an interesting year for WWE, to say the least. I don't really like much of the things that have happened this year. There's been really cool moments like Bianca and Naomi, Cody and CM Punk, Punk and KO. You had Liv and Raquel versus Bianca and Naomi. Awesome match. I love the whole Elimination Chamber stuff with Naomi and Jade. I didn't really care for Cena and Cody. I wish it would have happened at Mania, especially seeing how Cena's gone now with this whole heel turn. And there's been like a couple other few things here and there, but for the most part, I think it's just been like a D-rated year in my opinion. It just has not been good. Something that also might not be good, though, is Willow Nightingale is reportedly in her contract year, as reported by Fightful. And I'm not going to lie to you, this one, once again, just kind of frustrates me. It does frustrate me with the Mariah May thing as well, because I did want Mariah May to stay in AEW. Who knows what's going to happen with that? This just frustrates me for women. Because once again, it is a woman that is having to fight extra hard for her dang contract when, in my opinion, the women have been carrying wrestling for the past 2.5 years. TNA, ROH were carried by women and Athena and Jordynne Grace. WWE, in my opinion, was carried by the likes of Rhea and Bianca and Io and Nia and Bayley and all of Damage Control for about the past 2.5 years. You had Charlotte in there as well, Becky in there as well, Roxanne Perez for NXT. And then we had AEW with Tony and Mariah. I know I said Swerve was a big reason why they got that max contract. It's also very much so in large part due, even more probably in large part due to Tony versus Mariah as well. You have Mercedes Moné carrying the TBS title scene. Stardom, I think, has been much better than New Japan in my opinion. Heck, we've just seen multiple times now the women have main evented pay-per-views when it comes to New Japan. So it's like, I hate that the women are getting screwed over again, man. I really, really do. Like, these women should not be having to get done like this the way they're getting done. I know WoW is like a really is a up and coming promotion in the stateside. Obviously, it doesn't have to be just stateside, but I really hope that that former AJ Lee promotion, or I think the promotion that she used to be a part of, I hope it does get bigger, because I would love to see a way, like a I would love to see a women's promotion kind of, take over, because at this point, man, the women are just not going to get ever treated fairly in any of these male promotions. Willow Nightingale should have been re-signed a long time ago. That should have been priority number one, was re-signing Willow Nightingale. She was literally top 10 in PW Insiders, and she only had the New Japan Strong Women's Championship for a little bit, and she only had the TBS title for a little bit. There is clearly something there that is seen with Willow Nightingale when it comes to literally everybody, but I guess AEW, because they continue to just not really use her properly. The whole Marina Shafir feud, that should have been handled months ago. She was in the Death Riders feud from the beginning, then you removed her from it, but you kept everybody else in it. That was a part of it. That was a part of the conglomeration. I don't really get that. I don't know what we're going to be doing with Willow and Chris. This storyline should have also been ended months ago as well. Don't know what the heck's going on here. So it's like, I don't really like what's been done to Willow Nightingale. I feel like this whole Willow and Marina storyline, I think Willow and Marina, if we really want to, shout out to the women, they need to be an anarchy in the arena. I don't care if there's a bunch of men in the match as well, and we're going to start saying that, oh, well, we can't have the men hit the women. That's just not right. Outside of wrestling, you're 100% correct. Men should not hit women. 1,000%. In wrestling, it's wrestling, y'all. Men and women wrestle all the time. I just seen a freaking match in Uganda where it was a man and a woman wrestling, and Shorty was giving this boy, this man, the Randy Orton DDTs, man. Come on, we can have it. It's okay. If you're that sensitive to see men and women wrestling, I'm just gonna be real. Then just don't watch. Don't watch. It's not that big of a deal, man. They should be allowed to be in there with the men. It's fine. I would love to see Willow and Marina. I would love to see what they could do in this match against each other, against some of the other men. We've had Marina be a big factor in the whole Death Rider storyline. In my opinion, after Jon Moxley, I feel like Marina has been the most impactful in this whole entire thing. Willow did help out for a minute, but then it kind of like just cooled off. But I think Marina's been very impactful in it. I think Willow Nightingale is such a just amazing personality and very charismatic that I would love to see a bit of, more of a ruthless side from her. I'd love to see what she could do in this match. I would love to see how crazy she could go and see a bit more of like what they did with Cody Rhodes in WWE, where he was a babyface, but then started doing a little bit of sadistic things, like hitting AJ Styles when he was handcuffed. Like after the match, he had just thrown the steel steps at him. Or no, he tried to, but then AJ dodged it, throwing Kevin Owens through a dang ladder with the Alabama Slam. I would love to see Willow Nightingale just go super crazy in this match and kind of tap into another side of Willow Nightingale. I think it'd be absolutely amazing. Then, as far as Willow and Chris, please, baby, just finish the story. Whatever you're going to do with it, it needs to be big. I need to see a 7-game series between these two. I think it needs to happen. These women need to take out all the pent-up frustration they have between each other. I would even love to see an Iron Woman's match. If you don't want to do a 7-game series, do an Iron Woman's match. They should be the first two to have one. I think it'd be absolutely awesome. 60-minute Iron Woman match for Willow and for Chris. They might actually not be the first ones. I might be capping on that. I might have just been blanking on the other one, but even if they weren't, I would love to see it between them. If you don't want to do a 7-game series, I think a 7-game series would be great, though, because you can build it up now, and then, I guess you would have it after Double or Nothing. So you could do Willow, let's see, between Double or Nothing and All In, we have about 6 to 7, 8 weeks. I think within those 6, 7, 8 weeks, you could have Willow and Chris having multiple matches with each other just over the span of a couple of weeks. Or if you want to, Iron Woman's match at Double or Nothing, if you want to do that. And then we have Willow and Chris, being in a tag team tournament for the inaugural Women's Tag Team Champions. I know I said before that I don't really want to see it because I think it's not going to be handled that well, because they don't ever handle women's wrestling, especially women's tag wrestling, that well when it comes to the stateside. But man, I think maybe AEW could possibly do it just enough justice that at least doesn't feel like a DEI title, and it feels like a y'all really earned it title, even though DEI hires are also really earned hires as well. But y'all get what I mean. But yeah, no, I would love to see it for Chris and for Willow. I think it would help out a lot of the women's division. I think it would also allow for a women's faction, like another big women's faction to be built up, because I think there's a lot you could do there with Hikaru Shida. I think she's someone that needs to be doing something. I would love to see her have like a little faction with a tag team and stuff like that. I would love to see her even be a part of a tag team, maybe get these tag team belts, because I feel like she's someone that's kind of been underutilized the past 4 years now. So yeah, no, I think we just needed something with Willow and Chris. AEW, you cannot let Willow go. This woman is a superstar, whatever company she goes to. She could be the face of a company. This woman has so much personality, man. She's so dang awesome to see every single time she's on the mic, every single time she's in the ring. She's just absolutely iconic. I love me some Willow Nightingale. Everybody loves Willow Nightingale. I don't know one person that actually dislikes this woman because she's so dang cool. Speaking of folk that got a lot of dislike towards them, though, I don't know why either, man, because she's 33 and she's so damn good. It doesn't really hit the same because she's 33, not 23, but man, my goat, the Monet train, Miss Mercedes Monet. She done lost one of her titles. She's not a belt collector anymore. She lost the New Japan Strong Women's title at New Japan Revolution or Resurgence. Go ahead and have a little moment of silence for one Mercedes Moné. Oh, man. Such a sad day, y'all. It's such a sad day. Just having I had to see a picture today with Mercedes Moné. It was only 2 belts, not 3 of them. She didn't have the 3rd one. I was mad. I was mad as hell, man. Oh my gosh, man. Nah, I'm just playing. Nah, in all honesty, I mean, I am sad for Mercedes Moné because I think she was doing amazing as a belt collector. She's been my favorite belt collector. Y'all know I love me some Mercedes Moné. That's one of my goats right there. But nah, I'm super happy for Azumi. I think this was the perfect way to build her up. She had a super amazing storyline with Mercedes Moné where she could just never get over her, and then she finally was able to get the win. I assume that Azumi and Mercedes Moné is going to happen sometime as well because Mercedes didn't lose the match. She lost the match, but she didn't get pinned. That was Mina Shirakawa, and that's going to be just a great way to build up Azumi even further, that she is who she says she is and not who Mercedes says she is, which is the woman that wasn't able to pin Mercedes, but able to pin Mina. It's going to be great for her. Anybody that's ever said that Mercedes Moné is, not putting over anybody, by her being the super duper mega heel for AEW and for New Japan and for Stardom, I guess, as well, because you kind of put them together, she's been able to make Azumi, I don't want to say make Azumi, it sounds wrong, but she's been able to play a very big part in Azumi being a top tier baby face now, and so much people getting behind Azumi over this past year and a half now. I think that she's now plateaued after that whole loss that she took last year into a much bigger superstar. And I'm really just super happy for Azumi. I think she's just phenomenal, man. She's so damn good. My goodness, man. She is 22 years old and she's so damn good. Oh my God, bro. Love me some Azumi. But this match is just absolutely phenomenal, man. Main event worthy. Mercedes Moné does not have a bad match against the Joshi style wrestlers. I promise you that. Mina Shirakawa showed me a whole lot in this match. Her personality is just off the charts. I think she could be a super duper mega star in AEW. Right now she's in Ring of Honor. I think she's going to get that Ring of Honor Women's Championship at some point in time. I think she'll eventually go back to I think she'll probably transition over to AEW and get a world title or a TBS title. I think she is going to have a pretty big feud with Mercedes. I'm assuming she's in Ring of Honor right now only because of the Mariah May situation. They probably want to see what's going to happen with that, because I said before that I think Mariah and Mina should be a tag team. I would love to see them be a tag team, and I think that they're just probably waiting to see what happens with that before putting her into AEW, because you don't want to do that just yet. But she's been killing it in Ring of Honor. She's killed it in Stardom. She's already killed it in AEW as well. I cannot wait to see more of her, because I feel like she just has a lot of personality that when she's not being like super, here's my boobies and all that stuff, you really do see her personality shine. And she's very much so like a lot of the other women that have come out of Stardom, whether it be Asuka or Io or Kairi or Dakota Kai or Toni Storm, Mariah May. She has an awesome personality and she's super easy to get behind, super likable in my opinion. Also Hikaru Shida as well. I loved Hikaru Shida with that big old dang kendo stick she used to have, and she needs to bring that back and start whooping some more ass with it. But no, all in all, this match was just absolutely amazing from start to finish. It was a beautiful match. I cannot wait to see another triple threat between these three. I hope that we do get one, because this might have, no, this was not better than Hazuki, Azumi, Mercedes, but it was damn near close enough, because this match was just, oh my gosh, man. Mercedes Moné is just, all three of these women, it's just, Mercedes is my GOAT, so I'm going to go towards Mercedes first, man. You got to understand that. But all three of these women right here, like just absolutely phenomenal. Y'all know I even felt like some type of way about Mina always being like the boobies, the boobies, the boobies, the boobies. But like, I mean, I've turned a little bit of a leaf with Mina Shirakawa. I think that she is, like she showed me more in this match than I have seen in a minute. And I seen a top tier women's wrestler. I seen a women's wrestler that can go to AEW and can be an AEW world champion in the future, can be an AEW TBS champion, could be a Ring of Honor champion and be the one to dethrone Athena. I think it's going to happen sometime in the future. I think Athena is probably going to get her 1,000-day reign, and then we'll have her get it thrown by somebody. If it is Mina Shirakawa, that'd be cool, because maybe Billy Starkz isn't ready yet. I think Mina probably does deserve it as well. But all in all, though, this match was just absolutely amazing. I'm also wondering now, though, what's going to be the all-in match, because Mercedes and Mina are going to have to feud at some point in time because of like what happened after the match, where Mercedes, got into it with Mina. Mina obviously cost her her belt. Mina chased Mercedes out. It was the funniest thing ever. I swear, when wrestlers chase each other out, it's so funny, because it's just funny because like I imagine them going backstage and then like just laughing the entire time. It's funny as hell. Or at least they probably get like far enough backstage because they probably record stuff. So they don't want to like obviously go backstage. Now they're all huggy and all that, but I guarantee that Mercedes and Mina just went backstage and were laughing their asses off. But I think that we could possibly get Mercedes versus Mina at All In instead of Mercedes versus Athena, especially if they do want to do the 1,000-day reign with Athena, because I mean you could do Mercedes versus Athena if, well, you know what? Maybe you could do Mercedes loses to Jamie Hayter, and then Mercedes versus Mercedes versus Mina, and Athena cost her that match. And then we do Mercedes versus Athena at All In for like the Rev Pro or for the TBS. Or wait. Would Mina go for the TBS or would she go for the Rev Pro? Well, she probably would go for the Rev Pro because she would want that belt back. And then you would have Mercedes go for, I guess Mercedes and Athena put both their belts on the line. And then we have Mercedes lose the TBS title. I mean, you could do that, or you just, I guess, you could. I guess I'm not mad at that, because Athena would be a double champion. I'm not mad at that. We could see Mercedes Moné kind of, have a big character arc, hopefully, with just how she would get into the world title scene. That'd be pretty cool, in my opinion. She easily could get the belt from Jamie Hayter, because if we have Jamie win against Toni Storm, there's always going to be that little asterisk. No, my bad. If we have Jamie Hayter defeat Mercedes Moné, if there's interference or something like that, there might be an asterisk by it, in a sense of like, you won, but there was also interference. So did you really beat Mercedes? So, or we could do? No. Forget the interference. We could easily just pull a Randy Gunther, where Jamie pins Mercedes, but she doesn't actually pin her. And then when we run it back after Jamie gets the world title, we wait like about 2-3 months, allow her to have like a great run with the belt. Then we could have Mercedes and Jamie Hayter run it back, because Mercedes never lost to Jamie Hayter, and Jamie Hayter could go on this whole thing of like, well, I mean, I did pin you, even if the ref didn't see it, that's not on me, I got the pin. And then Mercedes is just fighting for her chance to get another shot at Jamie Hayter, because she doesn't want to get the world title now. Maybe we put Mercedes Moné through the ringer and have it go through like a number one contenders match, something like that. Yeah, no, I can see this happening, actually. Okay. I'm not mad at Mercedes actually losing that belt, though. I think it's a great thing to start kind of, getting the belts off of her slowly. Maybe you didn't want to do the whole way that I thought of going about it, which is just disrespecting all the belts. Maybe it wasn't the greatest idea. I don't know. Y'all can let me know. But overall, though, I just really loved that match. It was one of my favorite women matches of the year. Super excited to see where Mercedes goes forward. Excited to see where Mina goes forward. Azumi goes forward. I hope that Azumi does become a even much bigger star than she already is. And I would love to see her stateside someday come to AEW, because I know she would absolutely kill it. But that's going to be for me, though, y'all. I definitely hope y'all did enjoy this episode, wherever you're listening to it at. As always, the liking, the following, the sharing, the rating, the notification bells, the comments, all that definitely does help out the podcast so much. I definitely appreciate those of y'all that are checking the podcast out. I hope y'all are enjoying it. But for now, y'all, that's it. I'm out. Peace. Y'all have a great one, everybody. Yeah.